Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well. Now, today I'm delighted to join my good friends from ELRIG, Sanj Kumar, CEO, and Saleh Patel, who's on the ELRIG board. Hopefully, I've got that correct. But she's also head of Pipeline and Commercialisation Strategy at Constructive Bio. But we're not, unfortunately, going to be talking about that today, Saleh. So sorry about
Yeah, so put it into conversation with.
that. Yeah, but we are going to be previewing ELRIG's upcoming Drug Discovery 2025 in Liverpool, which is on the 21st and 22nd of October.
Yeah,
And so we're going to learn more about that. But first of all, Sanj, it's lovely to see you. I'm glad you're enjoying the cricket. And Saleh,
yeah,
I hope the new role is going very well for you as well. Now, before we talk about drug discovery, though, Sanj, for people not familiar with ELRIG, and I ask you this every time, but I think it's important just in case people are watching this not aware of the organization. Who are ELRIG and what is your mission as an organization?
yeah. So ELRIG is you can consider ELRIG to be a learned association, a learned association for the drug discovery community. So we have around about 22,000 members, but you don't have to join to be a member. You simply got to sign up to our mailing list. And what we do is we do conferences. We do about 10 conferences per year. We do those conferences throughout Europe and actually the USA as well. And what we're doing is putting on conferences on the best possible science on particular topics that we can, and all those conferences are free to attend. So we're here today to talk about our big flagship conference, which of course is Drug Discovery, which, as you said, is taking place in Liverpool later in about a month's time. Actually, it is.
It is exactly. Now, Saleh, um, you've been involved with ELRIG for a long time. So, as someone who started out, I mean, you're not that old to be honest, but a few years ago with ELRIG, perhaps you can give us your history with ELRIG and why you think ELRIG is an important organization to be involved with within drug discovery.
Yeah, so I've been involved with ELRIG going on, I think, 8+ years now. So I joined as Sanj said, we don't have to pay for membership, you just have to sign up and volunteer with them. I started volunteering with them when I was an early career professional when I first joined AstraZeneca many years ago, and I started helping out with organizing small conferences, meetings, networking events. And then I was asked to lead that work group. So at the time it was called the networking events work group, and then joined the board, and then it kind of spiraled out of control. I then ended up chairing the scientific program work group, which I do now. But it's been a really valuable and important part of building my career at ELRIG, not in the sense that I've managed to make amazing connections across the industry, across pharma, across biotech and the life sciences. I had opportunities to collaborate with many people across the industry now to do great science and also to do great innovative work as well. So it's, I think, from that's when I was an early career professional, it was very good at helping me build those connections and find my way through the industry. And now, as I'm more mature in my career, I think, again, some of those things apply, but also finding opportunities to learn about some of the cool and interesting science that's happening, meet the vendors, meet the delegates, meet the community, meet large pharma partners. I think that's all, part of the ELRIC experience and the opportunities that it brings.
Cool. And Sanj, I'm going to ask you one question though, because I know you're CEO, but you've got a long history with ELRIG as well. So, and you've seen ELRIG change over the years. So, without going through your whole history, because we would be here for a long, long time,
Really well.
perhaps you can just give us a very quick snapshot of how ELRIG has changed from when you first started work with ELRIG.
Yeah, it was founded in 2000 because at that time there was this new science coming out about lab automation using robotics to automate laboratory procedures, and that's very applicable to the high throughput screening laboratories in the drug discovery industry. So basically, it started as a user group almost 20 years ago, but it's now 25 years on, and your average drug discovery person needs so many more technologies and applications and skills than they did all those 25 years ago. So ELRIG has evolved along to match that and to support that. So drug discovery, the conference in October, has over 150 talks on different topics and science and technology, and it's all supported by 200 exhibitors, all bringing different products to market to support that community. So drug discovery is very different now than it was 20, 25 years ago. And just as an aside, ELRIG, the organization, had to evolve as well, because it went from being a volunteer organization all those years ago to the board is still a volunteer organization, but we now have a professional group who run the conferences. There's six of us who run the conferences now. We're employed by ELRIG, including myself.
Great, thanks for that. Well, look, let's talk about drug discovery. Before we talk specifically about the event itself and what people can expect, last year's event was in London and was a record-breaking event. I know because I was at the Excel and it was lots of people there, over 3,000 visitors. So why do you as an organisation actually alternate from London to Liverpool? Because it was in Liverpool 2 years ago. So why do you switch? Because a lot of people say, well, I've had a great event, record numbers, why change it? Keep it in London, make sure those numbers keep growing. So why have you switched back to Liverpool?
Yeah. I can take that if you like, yeah, and then Saleh, you can add accessibility and equity. Riz, not everybody can travel to London. London's great to get to. It's a very connected place, but it's an expensive place to visit. It's hundreds of miles away, if not thousands of miles away from some geographies. To have a hotel in London is expensive. So we definitely want to serve the community, and actually the second largest community for the drug discovery industry outside of the Golden Triangle, which is Cambridge, Oxford, London, is actually the northwest of England. So that's why we go to Liverpool. And actually, we have people who prefer to go to the Liverpool event because it's just more accessible. It's a very easy venue to get to. They're a lovely team who host us up there, and it's a beautiful city as well.
Fantastic. So you got anything to add to that?
I think not much more than what Sanj said, but as going back to his other question around ELRIG evolving as an organisation, we've done a lot of work in the equality, inclusion, and diversity space, and accessibility is so fundamental and key for ELRIG, especially around having these open access conferences, open access science, and being able to connect people is fundamental to our core mission, serving the drug discovery community. And this is another example of how we enable that access to people of all backgrounds, regardless of which geography they're based in. So having this alternating between London and Liverpool really helps us serve both the north and the south of England, and the United Kingdom. And also with great transport links, especially if you're coming from abroad as well. We've got international airports as well, located close to both. So it does make it really easy for people even beyond the UK to come and visit as well.
And one question that just struck me while you were saying that we're talking about north and south, and given you are a Brummie, have you any plans to do an ELRIG in the Birmingham or Midlands?
We were in Leicester earlier this year. We're probably coming to Loughborough next year, and we have an event in Warwick, in fact, which also is very heavily involved with as well. So we're kind of in the Midlands in that sense, but we're not going to. And this is the wonderful thing about ELRIG. Of those 10 conferences we do, four are big conferences that can't be moved, and they take place in set spaces like AstraZeneca in Gothenburg, GSK in Stevenage, Hingston Hall in Cambridge. But then we have these one-day forums, which Saleh was very instrumental in creating, which are very sort of movable topics that we can move from place to place, and they're the ones that we take out. So yeah, we will come to the Midlands, but we'll come with a forum, Riz.
Right, okay, perfect. Now let's talk more specifically about Drug Discovery 25 then. For people who've never been there and are trying to visualize what they can expect, Sanj, maybe you can start, and Saleh, you can add from your perspective as well. What can people expect to see at this year's Drug Discovery 2025?
I mean, I can go through the numbers. I don't think it gives a sense of scale or the buzz or the excitement, but as you said, last year we had 3,000 attendees coming down to Excel over 2 days. Liverpool's capacity, we're in the exhibition hall, which is right behind the Pullman Hotel, right by the River Mersey. Liverpool's exhibition hall's capacity is 2,800 people per day. So that's what we're going to have, because we're already on track to have 2,800 people per day. in the meeting, when you walk into the conference, you take the entire conference center over. When you walk in, you'll be confronted with 200 exhibition booths. So you have 200 companies, each taking a 3 by 2 meter booth to talk about their latest products and technologies that they have available. And then in the four corners of the exhibition hall, you have the big auditoriums where the science takes place. And in each of those auditoriums, they're great big blacked off walls, big curtain draped theatres with each with about 400 to 500 seats in them. That's where the scientific talks take place. And then we also have 3 zones, which are open air theatres in the actual hall itself, where we present much more focused topics like about startup, how to be a startup, or AI in drug discovery, or even a career zone as well, where you can learn how to develop your career. And they're open, so they're much more noisy and vibrant and a little less formal. And then in the middle of all that is the ELRIG hub, which is where I will be on the hub, and that's where the ELRIG, that's where you can come meet ELRIG people, ELRIG board. And this year we're going to have a wonder wall, which is essentially a video wall showing all the electronic feeds that are going around for the meeting. So that doesn't just do it justice. It's just a big, noisy environment. And for those of you who are nervous about that, we do have quiet rooms as well. We've got space put aside where you can go and be quiet and get away from it all if you need to as well. There's even family rooms as well, so if you want to bring the little ones and they need looking after and such like. So we've got all that prepared.
Is there anything to add to that? I mean, I reckon you could be far more descriptive than Sanj can.
Yeah.
I know it's pretty comprehensive, right? Who needs to walk through when you've got Sanj describing it? Well, maybe I can say a little bit more about the science, right? Because, for most people coming to ELRIG are going to be coming for the science. So we are I think now we are the largest drug discovery conference in Europe, looking at the numbers of attendees that we have. And that's really exciting because it's our science that really draws people in. We cover lots of emerging science. We've got topics around, in vitro and in silico models for sustainable drug discovery, which I think is really exciting that we're talking about how we're bringing sustainability into the everyday science that we're doing. We've got topics on omics, chemistry. We've got disease biology tracks, right? This is another evolution into how ELRIG has evolved as an organization. We've got tracks on neuroscience, we've got oncology, but then we are also covering the basics into the sense that we've got the protein sciences that are covered, and we've got automation and high throughput screening and all of those drug discovery bread and butter topics that you would expect at a drug discovery meeting to also be present. And I think it's just, the science is really, we work really hard to bring the best science, the best speakers, and the most high quality content to these events. And it's really very carefully curated by the conference directors, by the scientific program work group, and a whole army of volunteers and people who are leading these tracks as well. So it's really, really carefully curated scientific program to bring the best quality and the best speakers, as I said. And the other thing to also mention is that it's a really great environment for innovative companies as well. So Sanj briefly mentioned the breakthrough zone. So we've got that theatre space within the exhibition area where startups are going to be talking about their journeys and their products and their kind of where they're at, but also others giving talks around how to build a startup or support a startup as well. But within that space, we're really excited to have some of this really emerging, exciting science that's coming out of our community to be able to be shared at such an early stage with the rest of the drug discovery delegates at this meeting. So yeah. I mean, personally, coming from a startup now myself, I find that really exciting, and I find the buzz of that really cool because some of the amazing things that are happening at the moment are just absolutely mind-boggling. But it's that's the future of where drug discovery is going, and ELRIG is doing it first, and we're showcasing that very early stage science first. So it's another reason to come to drug discovery in Liverpool.
Fantastic. I have to say, ELRIG, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you two specifically, but you've done a lot of initiatives which I think a lot of other organizers have not necessarily done or been brave enough to do, whether it's talking about diversity and inclusion. You know, people talk about it, but they don't with the words, but they don't do any actions necessarily behind it. You as an organization, I know, have done that. And is that something that you're continuing to invest in? Because I know 2 years ago in Liverpool, that's when you kicked this all off, really, if I remember correctly. So is that still a key part of what ELRIG are doing?
Yeah, we had a few years, as you said now, is we developed an EDI policy, which is an inclusivity policy, and we've stuck by that. Now, I know there are winds of change within the
Sure.
scientific world, and they're coming out of North America and coming over here, but ELRIG is going to stay true to its policy. We did one of the biggest ways we do that, and Saleh is so integral in this, is that we mandate, and that means we do it, is that we mandate that the speakers who present are gender balanced. That means they're 50% female, 50% male. They're 35% non-white, and about a third are early career professionals as well. We want people to sit in the audience and see themselves on the stage and say, well, if that person can come and present, I can do that too. And the most visible way to do that is actually the opening speaker. And this year, delighted that it's by Professor Heather Pinkett from Northwestern University. She's coming all the way from the US. She is the president of the Protein Society, who are very good friends of ours, and she's coming over to open open the conference, and she is a black female professor, and we're delighted to have her, Rose.
Fantastic. Now, the other thing I want to ask you about is that as an organization as well, you do invest a lot in terms of making sure you make life as easy for the exhibitors, because we're talking about this off camera, but also for the visitors. So again, for people who are not familiar with the various initiatives you do in terms of bursaries, the buses, and any other thing, maybe you can tell viewers what you do to try and make life as easy for visitors. So maybe you want to do that a little bit, is talk a bit more about what ELRIG does to encourage people to come to, particularly an event like DrugDiscovery.
Yeah, so we've got a number of like initiatives that people can reach out to us about. One is around, us being able to fund a bus for organizations to send early career professionals or those who would not likely have access to a type of meeting like this, to try and enable more participation, especially of those groups that are marginalized within the industry. And then other things that we do, actually, we have a lot of legacy work that we do in the spaces where we do hold up some of these meetings. So both in Liverpool and in London, we reach out to the local schools, so the local primary schools, local secondary schools, and then we invite those children onto site, those students onto site, to be able to, a lot of them, it's their first exposure into industry, into science. Most kids are probably only seen their GP or their doctor up until this point, who and most people don't even know at that point like what careers in science would involve. And to come to a meeting like DrugDiscovery and to meet some of the scientists, the people behind some of these amazing technologies and innovation that's happening, I think it's just inspiring. And especially the schools that we work with are often from difficult areas where these types of opportunities don't often come by, and a lot of these kids also don't have opportunities to engage with other professionals within their family or friendship circles as well. So I think it's really trying to reach out and do a bit of outreach work and leave that legacy behind within the local community, and to be able to support some of those things as well. And on top of that, for our delegates ourselves, we do, I mean, our meetings are all free of charge, so there's no ticketing. Like you just turn up, like you register online, you turn up, it's free to attend. And not only that, we also give you a free lunch, so that's the other thing. You don't have to worry about that. And some of these can be barriers for certain people from some communities, and it's for us to be able to remove some of these and to be able to provide that open access science, because that's the most important thing here, right? It doesn't matter where you come from. You could have great ideas from anywhere. And so this is what we're trying to encourage, is to bring this kind of diversity and this kind of dynamic mix of people to do great science, to be creative, to think innovatively, and to get that kind of, you know, differences of like thinking to solve some of these like challenges that we have in drug discovery. So yeah, and then the other like things that we do in the meeting is provide quiet spaces, provide, you know, family areas. So if people do have childcare responsibilities, for instance, and they're struggling, they can bring their kids along. You know, we're really friendly in that sense. You know, one of our board members is is hopeful that she might be able to bring her 10-week-old baby at the time. So we will see about that. But you know, that's the kind of organisation and the environment that ELRIG are. We welcome everybody from all communities, and we try and support them where we can with the provisions that we're able to put on.
Brilliant. Sanj, anything to add to that?
No, I think that's right. There's also a lot of things that we do regarding careers as well. So if you want to develop your career within the industry, we do something called Network Like a Boss. That's where we have tables of senior bosses from the industry networking with more junior members to say, this is how I got there. And there are a range of people. In terms of legacy now, Riz, we're in Liverpool this year. Next year we're back in Excel. Then we're back in Liverpool, and then we're back in Excel, and then we're back in Liverpool again. So we're actually booked until 2031. So we're cycling. So we absolutely want to leave a legacy in Liverpool, and that has gotten us to the attention of the local council of Liverpool. So actually, one of the people who will be welcoming us to Liverpool on Tuesday the 22nd morning, is Councillor Liam Robinson, who is part of Liverpool Council. He's also Cabinet Minister for Innovation as well, and he'll be standing up and welcoming as part of the opening and welcome ELRIG and DrugDiscovery and its community to Liverpool. So we're making a lot of waves there. And on the track, we've got the Liver Labs, which is a startup community from Liverpool joining us as well. So yeah, it's not just about the ECPs; it's about the whole legacy piece that we're working very hard on.
That's great. Now, we talked about registration and free registration. Now, I know that this year you have asked people to book by the 30th of September, rather than in the past where you could book right up to and including the event. So for people who are watching this saying, hey, I always used to wait till the last minute, then I could decide where I went. So why have you put that policy in place?
Do you want me to say something about that?
Please go ahead.
With my board hat on, so basically it's to help us with the planning, right? It's a huge event and it's a huge logistical challenge. And again, we're a not-for-profit organisation, and we're trying to put on, you know, it's a free to attend event, and so we're trying to encourage and make sure that the delegates and the exhibitors who are going to be there are wanting to be there, and so we kind of been able to plan better for the numbers on site. So that's a health and safety issue, but also in terms of the catering as well. You know, we don't want to have huge amount of food waste, for instance, and you know, thinking about the planetary health and sustainability again. You know, this is important to us. We want to make sure that we have the right numbers for catering, for instance, but also make sure that all delegates and all vendors have the best experience as well whilst they're there, so that, you know, we can make it the best drug discovery we've ever put on. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Sanj.
Yeah, you know, we talk about the numbers a lot, 3,000 here, 2,800 here. But at the end of the day, what Saleha just said is we want this to be the best experience for everybody. And one of our major stakeholders is the exhibitor community, the vendor community. And we want them to meet people that they can promote their products to, because then they can continue to thrive. And when they thrive, they continue to sponsor ELRIG, and we will therefore thrive.
Sure.
So we're tuning the delegate numbers as well this year. We're going to maintain the business to business element of the attendees to no more than 15%. So that means the other 85% are active researchers who are interested in drug discovery. And that will mean our exhibitors are really, really happy. I mean, we can't, you know, we have 200 booths. Each booth has 3 exhibitors. So you've already got 600 exhibitors there. But if you keep it at around about 15% of the 3,000, but also by capping it, you're letting in people who will benefit most as well. So, you know, these will be higher quality. So we may not end up at 2,800. We may end up at 2,400, but that's okay because the quality of the delegate, there'll be people who really want to be there. There'll be people who are engaged. There'll be people who will participate, and there'll be people who will take something away, and that's okay as well. So hence the deadline.
Yeah, well, it's good. Well, I have to say, it's an interesting point you make because I think you do have that balance as an event organizer, whether to charge for an event or make it free. The danger of making it free is that people just take it for granted, take a ticket, go, it doesn't matter if I don't turn up, I didn't pay for it anyway, and then
Correct.
just don't turn up on the day. So this way, at least they're more committed to actually attending by making that
Yeah.
effort. Great. Now, the other thing I was going to ask you about, though, is obviously the whole thing about events and making them successful is all about what you're doing on site to engage both the exhibitors and the delegates and delegates and delegates and getting that whole interaction going. Now, you've already talked about some of the things as we've had this discussion, but from your perspective, what are the key things that you are doing or what are you doing to get that engagement both before, during, and hopefully after the event as well? So who would like to kick off on that one?
Yeah, I can go. I mean, before, if you've registered, you can now download the app and you can start to interact with all the other attendees. Very simple. If you're an exhibitor, your app actually has kind of a hidden bit that the exhibitors have where you can actually interact even more. So
Sure.
you can start to set that up. You can start to make appointments to meet people. Exhibitors, and this is now fait accompli because we're completely sold out, Riz, so you can't get into the exhibition anymore. But 2 weeks out from the event, exhibitors will get a GDPR consented mailing list to say this is who attending, and then they can reach out and they can start to interact with those people. We also have a relationship with a company called Sileads, where we put all our databases, our GDPR consented databases, into Sileads, so you can access the Sileads portfolio and understand who's really going to the event and where they've been before. So these are all very exciting initiatives that ELRIG are the only people in the world doing this. During the event, I mean, you will not be able to walk in a straight line for a start because you'll just bump into people. It's an inevitable thing to do. We want people to go to the exhibitors to not just to talk to their peers, but talk to the exhibitors. And the exhibitors, we've done training videos on how to engage people, and of course there'll be lots of interesting science and free goods and things like that as well. That will definitely do that. But you know, our chairperson will stand up at the beginning of the meeting and challenge the delegates to go and talk to the exhibitors because they will learn something. So we've created an environment where that's possible. This isn't a hard sell environment. This is more like a festival, hence the tagline for the meeting. So it's like a fair, and you shouldn't feel sold to. You should learn something from everything. We have relatively long lunch breaks so that people can interact with each other. As Saleha said, we actually put on free catering, and Saleh spun that as an accessibility reason, and she's right, because if you've got to apply for funding to leave your university or your company for the day, you've got to add up the travel, the accommodation, the food. Well, if you can take away one of those costs, it makes it more approvable. So yes, you can go. So we feed people, but also, Riz, that keeps them in the hall so they can interact with the
Sure.
vendors as well. On the end of day one, there's a huge networking event where we provide drinks and nibbles, etc. So there's lots of opportunities to meet.
Great. Anything to add to that, Saleh?
Yeah, just I think Sanj very much described the interactions that exhibitors and delegates can have there. But the other you know, interactions there are with the scientists themselves, the presenters and those who are talking about their science. So on top of the networking events that Sanj mentioned, there's also a few other touch points within the exhibition space. So we have the breakthrough zone, which I mentioned around, you know, this is where all our startups are going to be hanging out. So, you know, that's going to be like incredible, very buzzy. We have like these smaller theatres within the exhibition hall as well, where people are going to be talking about their science. It's going to be a bit more of a open space for discussion. We've got the and then we've got the career zone as well, and the learning zone, so where early career professionals can also interact. For early career professionals, we've got quite a number of things. So network like a boss was one of them, where we, you know, ECPs can sign up and, you know, have conversations with senior leaders within the industry to enable networking there. There's also going to be a number of breakfast events as well for early career professionals, and also actually on day zero, the day before the event, there might be another smaller meeting for early career professionals as well to engage there. So really try and build that community. And then there's a number of awards. ELRIG, like, you know, gives out a number of awards. One is the Kirsty Smitten Award, and this is for early career professionals. But we also have an innovation award for startups as well. So that's going to be a really buzzy, like, you know, really great thing. And then we have an outstanding contribution award as well. So a number of different things going on there, as well as the poster award. So in the exhibition space, there's also going to be posters. People are going to be sharing their science, you know, not just within the talks, but also as posters as well. And you can obviously go up to the poster boards and have a look, and also talk to the authors of the poster boards as well. So lots of different spaces created for engagement, for discussion, and for basically learning, collaborating, and, you know, finding opportunities to just carry those conversations on post the event as well.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to ask you one final question, actually, because we've covered so much in this interview. I think Emily will have a fit when she sees how long it is, but I think there's lots of great content here. If someone's watching this now, they've heard you guys talking, but they haven't yet registered, in one sentence, if you can, why should someone register for Drug Discovery 25 if they work in the life science? So maybe you can start. I'll let Sanj have the last word.
Well, oh my God, one sentence. How can you put it in one sentence?
All right. Well, maybe a couple of
No, wait,
sentences.
come on. No, I was just going to say, it is just the best drug discovery meeting in Europe. Like, why would you not come to it? It's absolutely incredible. Like, it's such a buzz. It's such a, you know, there's such great science, and you get to meet so many people across the industries. And like Sam said, it's a festival. Just come along and enjoy it.
Sanj?
Yeah, I think the science is, if you're a scientist, come for the science. If you want to progress your career, come to learn from other people. But if you just want to meet people, okay, I'm going to be on the ELRIG Hub. Come and find me. I will introduce you to somebody that you can chat to. So just come along to meet me, and I'll introduce you to people as well. That's my one role that I'm good at.
And you do it very well, Sanj,
Yeah,
actually, I
that's
have
all
to
I have to do.
say. So there you go, viewers. If you have not registered yet for Drug Discovery, and why not? Surely they've been promoting it for ages now. I thought you'd have booked your ticket, but you've only got a few days left. In fact, I think it's 6 days left to get it done and register. So the link is above this video. These two wonderful people have told you why you should go. You can also watch on below the post, on the post, some links of some of the videos from last year's event, so you can see what the show floor was like. So I'll share those on LinkedIn as well, so you can see it. But you should go if you work in drug discovery and life science. It is genuinely a great event. You'll be mad not to be there. I'll be there with my orange top and orange baseball cap, so you should be there definitely. And you might even see Sanj and Saleh, because they've done interviews now, wearing an orange baseball cap for me at the show as well. So, viewers, I hope to see you in a few weeks' time in Liverpool. So, Saleh, Sanj, I definitely hope to see both of you at the show in Liverpool on October the 21st and 22nd, maybe even on the 20th as well, all being well. And viewers, hopefully I can see you too. So until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.